Okay, welcome everybody. It's a special town board meeting. It is what is it, 7th of 5? 5th of July. Would everybody please unite us for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like a motion for a resolution authorizing the town supervisor to execute an agreement for the construction of 3 pickleball courts and related infrastructural improvements at the Thompson Mazzarella Park with Field Turf USA, Resolution 2023-179.
I will make that motion.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
Ed, I got Ed first. Thanks. Any discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Any other business?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about composting.
I am happy to talk about it. I feel like on a special meeting where we're doing one thing and the public hasn't been noticed, I'll just put that out there. We could certainly discuss it, but...
There's no action I'm going to ask.
Okie dokie, let's do it.
I just thought I'd tell you what's been going on. As you know, composting takes household food waste and mixes it with so-called brown material. That's either leaves or straw or manure, mulch, brush, and so on. We looked at 4 alternatives. I've been working with the village over where to put such a facility or how to support such a facility. All 4 alternatives have in common that the sites that are picked up from are in Rhinecliff at the parking lot for the village and at the transfer station. The restaurants are not included because they're already paying to have their stuff picked up, and that wouldn't change.
Is there any power for us to enact a local law mandating food scrap, or is that state?
I don't know. That's a good question for a lawyer. Anyway, the variables are where do you put the composting facility, how do you staff it, and who picks up, and I'll get to all those in a moment. The facility itself requires electricity, water, 3 acres of space typically, because there's got to be 200 feet clearance from wetlands and neighboring buildings, and of course you got to be able to get to it from the highway. The facility needs attention, usually 30 minutes a day at least. We estimated 10 hours a week. And you need a skid steer and a front-end loader to actually manipulate all the material. There are 4 alternative sites. Compost at the village highway facility, that's what we talked about a couple of meetings ago and got feedback on that. We've talked about doing it at the transfer station. Right now, all the compost that's picked up by Ozone, Carter, is taken to Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency in Kingston, or we could do it at a local farm.
What do you mean we could do it at a local farm?
I could do it at a local farm. It could be done at a local farm.
The town would fund a composting facility at a local farm?
We would, yes, and there's a way to do that.
They wouldn't lose their ag exemption for operating a commercial,
Not a commercial facility.
if they're taking in compost from outside of their property?
Yeah, for free. They're just taking it. Vanessa was going to be here to talk about this, but...
She is.
Oh.
The issue I have with this is that, the public hasn't been noticed, but it's fine.
I just wanted to bring it up. We can talk about this with the public next meeting and get questions like yours answered. The point is that when we get to the 4 alternatives, we'll talk about which ones look attractive.
Why did the village withdraw their...
Because of all the objections from the neighbors, mainly. And the fact that it didn't look like we would be participating.
So they need our participation for this?
that's questionable.
We'd really like your participation,
Yeah.
so it could be open to all Rhinebeckers, not just villagers.
So let me go through the alternatives. And we'll do this real quick. The chart that's got the blue lines on it has got 4 possible locations for a composting site. And it's got, what is the construction cost? The grant that the village got was $300,000, but only $200,000 of it would be available.
There's 2 grants, the DEC and the,
Yeah, the first grant.
which one is transferable?
The one from the county, which is 200 grand. Labor at the village highway is already present. The transfer station doesn't have daily labor. Going to Kingston, it's not applicable, and the farmer would do the labor if we had it at a farm. Equipment, we need to spend money if we do it at the transfer station. Everybody, the other alternatives are already there. Electricity and water, more or less the same. Brown material, leaves are present at the village site because they collect leaves. It's present at the farm because basically brush and manure and leaves as well. Transfer station doesn't have that. Kingston, it's not applicable. Access to the transfer station is needed. There's a map on the next page that shows where the wetlands are, and the rule is you got to be 200 feet from the wetlands.
Is there space at the transfer station?
Yeah, but it's only along the highway.
It's not manned, we need equipment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, I mean, the transfer station, in my opinion, is not a practical solution.
And the landfill is not practical because?
Because it's hilly and it's too far away. The only area where I wrote XFER and where I wrote landfill, that's where you could put it. Because maybe in the area,
I don't think we can do landfill because it's capped.
yeah, well, I mean, it's just, this is on top of it.
What divided by what is the monthly number?
What do you mean?
The pickup cost is derived from dividing it by what?
Well, the pickup cost, I've got the details, but basically we're looking at, if we use the transfer station or a farmer that's local, it's $780 a month.
Have you talked to our planning board about the legality of it being done on a farm?
How about talking to a lawyer?
Sorry?
Why don't we talk to a lawyer?
It has to go to our planning board.
We'll do that. I just, you know,
And why aren't we just collecting food scraps and delivering them to Kingston? Why do we want a plant?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Because we could collect them at the transfer station.
Not really,
No,
Why?
because we're not the labor.
there's nobody
We need
there.
a machine, we need a building.
Instead of composting, why aren't we collecting food scraps and outsourcing it? Why this?
Well, basically what's there is to have Ozone come around to the 2 or 3 sites we have, and pick it up once a week, and take it over to Kingston. That's what the
The fourth proposal is?
no, that's what the
UPRA?
the $931 a month is what Ozone would charge to pick up from the 3 sites and take it over to Kingston. The reason it's
What are
higher,
the 3 sites again?
If you go back to the,
Rhinecliff, the transfer station.
Where in Rhinecliff?
We'll have to figure that out. Rhinecliff, the transfer station, and
village parking lot.
the village parking lot. And the number of bins is in one of the last pages there. 3 or 4 bins in Rhinecliff, 5 in the parking lot, and 3 in the transfer.
Is the monthly cost tied to volume at all, or is it just?
No, the
just is
monthly,
what it is?
the monthly cost is, the number of bins is what determines the monthly
Robert
cost.
McKeon, I think, that's what Red Hook's doing.
Yeah, and the reason it's higher to go to Kingston is because of the tolls and the extra mile.
And, Kingston has a certain je ne sais quoi that
We just don't
it
have.
just drives the costs up a little bit.
What do they have?
Nothing.
They have a tipping
Sarcastic,
fee
And no one finds it funny.
Yeah, Kingston has a tipping fee of, I think, $20 a ton. Is that the right number?
Yeah, 20 or 30, I forget.
Yeah, I spoke to, anyway, so my recommendation is, and this is what I ask you to consider is, start off having Ozone pick up this stuff, take it to Kingston, while we figure out whether we can do a farm. Because the other two alternatives, in my opinion, are not anywhere near as attractive as just sending it to Kingston. And meanwhile, we can figure out what the legal issues are with the local farm. So that's what I wanted to bring up.
Could we have more pickup areas?
Sure. Yeah, I think they're $40 a month each. She's got as long as they're local, that's fine. So you could have a pickup, you could have bins in the backyard of town hall, for instance.
I think it's two pieces. It's answer the question for the village, what it means to do this in an RL5 district, right? Talk to Warren, talk to Jim, find out.
Do we want to be in a composting business?
That's the second question, right? Or do you think that's critical to the first?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what this farm is about. Would it be town supported on private property?
Yeah,
Who would sell the compost?
I'll get the detail.
Does Ag and Market allow it?
Yes, that they figured out. They're already doing composting on this particular
Yeah,
farm.
but I mean, we know that Richard Creed's looking at losing his ag exemption for letting his land be used as a parking lot.
Yeah, well, it's not Richard Creed, so.
Well, I know, but is it our business if it's on a private farm?
I don't have the answers to all those questions. That's what I'm going to do next. I just thought to let you know what we're doing, what we're thinking.
I mean, really, it's easy to set up drop areas.
Yeah.
The village could have two, you pay for them, we could have two, we'll pay for them.
Sure.
We could split the costs and anyone can use them.
Well, I mean, given the three that I identified, we're looking at less than $500 a month per municipality to go to Kingston.
Yeah, I mean, we could put one in our transfer station immediately.
And put one in Rhine Cliff somewhere.
You talked to Ryan Cliff about that.
Well, that's why we need to have the public involved. I mean, if they don't want it, then, reduces the price, but transfer station strikes me as not the optimal place to do anything, because it's on the edge of town.
We have 600 people. How many permits do we have there? 500 permits? 650 people going there on a weekly basis anywhere, 650 households.
Anyway, so that's where this stands.
All right, good. Interesting.
You want to add anything?
I'm happy to answer any more questions, but
Is
it's your meeting.
the garage, village garage, off the table now?
I don't see how to move forward there with the threat of lawsuits.
You wouldn't have been sued, we would have been sued. Like, our planning board would have been sued. It would have been up to us to defend or not a
I
lawsuit.
didn't want to put y'all in that position.
We didn't even get notice. It was just like done.
So does it seem reasonable to ask the question beforehand? Because they can make an application, the village can make an application to the town, to the planning board to do this. They don't need our approval to do this. Right? If the argument is, and it's true that it's as of right to do this stuff in the RL5 districts, they can make application to the planning board to do this. So if that's the case, it just seems to me like, why don't we
Is
just...
it still, I mean, The village withdrew the application before anything was done. The only thing we did was respond to our attorney who had questions and said, yes, please look into it. You wouldn't have been sued, we would have been sued.
So this is an invitation for the town to figure out a plan B with us, and we'd love for the town to take part. So it could be open to all Rhinebeckers, not just villagers.
I'm still not convinced of the usage for town people and the funding of it by tax dollars.
Well, that's why we could do the carting to Kingston and see what kind of traffic we get at all 3 sites, or however many sites we have. And now you got some history to go back and look at and say, well, nobody goes to the transfer station, or everybody goes to the transfer, whatever. And at the moment, we're guessing how many teeth the horse had.
We don't know.
I don't know how it looked. It's an old story from,
What do you think, Josh?
I mean, it seems to me like a preliminary review with Brian Tam, and he can speak to Warren about that too, or we can present it to Warren, but it just seems to me that if there's any higher level issues, let's clear the deck earlier rather than later.
yeah.
I mean, it just seems like the right thing to do. So, unless I'm missing
Personally,
something.
I've always been in favor of this. I've always wanted the data of who's going to use it without one of 5 saying, yeah, I support funding it with tax dollars. You guys said you
Yeah, I don't-
couldn't give us that data.
I guess you could do a survey out to town residents.
Why not just spend the $500 a month for?
And see what happens.
See what happens.
Right.
That's where I would start. And, that way you now have data rather than
Yeah, because I would just be
speculation.
estimating, I don't know how many towns.
We don't, yeah, we don't. But to me, it seems like 2 different things. There's the math of it that there's still questions about, fine. But before and in advance of that, ask and answer the question if this can exist there. So they can apply and
Exist where?
In a farm.
on a farm as a commercial activity in the RL5 district.
The other thing is if the farm doesn't work out,
I'm just confused why the village garage is still on here. Is it still a
Well,
consideration?
That's history now.
It's gone.
I put it on there just to compare it to the transfer station. which
You
I
could
think
also
is-
create districts
Right.
and have them funded by each district. The gardens could have one, the
Yeah, but
woods
for-
could have
For
one.
$500 a month, why would we go through that? I mean,
Well, $500 a month times 5 locations
No.
is $2,500.
No.
Three
$500
locations.
a month, $500 a month or less than for 3 locations. Taken to Kingston.
It's $20,000 a year.
Yes, that's $1,000 a month times 12 is 12,000.
Oh, at 3. Okay.
So, but the 500 to 700 to 1,000 is us rounding up, or?
1,000 is rounding up,
So-
900, whatever.
That's
it
fine,
says.
I just want to make sure I was.
Yeah. So I only do things in powers of 10.
As you should.
So,
After 1 power of 10, I'm done. Powers of 10.
well, it's either 10 or 100 or 1,000. It's like,
I mean, is there a way to do this that's not tax funded? Why isn't it user
There's-
funded?
So there's a way to do it that isn't using taxpayer money, and just give me a minute, I'll explain it. So if the farmer, if village can do a partnership with the farmer, the
Like on a
DEC.
farm, town land.
Yes, the DEC could approve us using a $200,000 grant to buy the equipment to do area static pile.
So we would use a government-funded grant on a private piece of property.
With a contract, everything's all legit, and then the farmer's doing the operation as a subcontractor of the village. And if we had just 1 or 2 drop-off spots, say in the village and at Rhinecliff, perhaps the farmer would even pick those up as part of the deal. So we're not paying anything.
It's a way to use the grant money.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're giving back all $300,000. Farmer is already composting on the farm. So if he can add food scraps, that makes the end product even better. He's spreading it on his fields to rebuild the soil. So it's really a
No, I
win-win.
get it.
So we'll do more research on that at the next.
I'll talk to the planning board, I'll talk to Melanie Moore, get her
Okay.
take on it.
Yeah, I have a call into her, I haven't spoken to her yet. But I did talk to Jim Levy, and we didn't go into huge details. He was busy, but he knows what's going on too.
So we want to maintain $200,000 worth of this grant and build some kind of infrastructure that gets us part of the way there, and it doesn't have to be taxpayer funded.
Right. Or spend $100 a week, give or take, I mean, again, hours of 10, and have it done in the town and the village.
You just don't think it's feasible at all at the transfer station?
You know, I mean, you're looking at spending $100,000 for a skid steer and a front loader.
If it were a part-town project and we're having additional labor hired at the cemetery, we could,
Yeah, I understand, but the fact that we have the money doesn't mean we ought to spend it. You know, we can raise our salary.
That's not possible.
That was a
that would
joke.
never
In
happen.
case anybody's listening, that was a joke.
Bad joke.
That's my lead.
Sorry?
Thank you.
All right,
A
well,
little levity.
yeah, well,
other-
thanks for doing all this.
Well, the other thing that's going on that I've been involved in is the noise stuff.
You're just a barrel of fun
I
today.
know.
Jesus.
Jeez.
So I will have an ordinance to get started on at the next meeting.
Great.
If you're in, and I'll send you a draft of it. Jim Levy and I have been working on this.
You want to give us any hints?
It's going to be the number of dBs at the
Why don't we
boundary
just
of the
ban
park.
it during times of the day?
We can talk about that, but the fact is that, you know, the
Is this
noise is noise.
Is this in the realm of Rudy's, what he wants?
Yeah,
Okay.
but the problem is the village has an ordinance that basically says the noise can't be a noise.
That's so subjective, though.
Exactly. I'm paraphrasing. So,
We might be interested in updating our.
yeah.
Does anybody favor sunsetting, and I know I've said I haven't been in, that this is problematic, sunsetting gas-powered leaf blow.
Yeah, we could do that too. but
Josh is like I am, I feel like it's maybe above our pay
The
grade.
dB levels are,
When you said sunsetting, meaning
Gas-powered
Two-stroke.
require them to
to,
no longer be used?
yeah.
Yeah,
no.
that's real trouble, I think.
yeah, I agree. I mean, the police department has a dB meter, they can go measure at the, you know, when somebody calls them. And also the zoning officer can do that. So it's enforceable. And I'll bring
It's
the,
enforceable only if there's labor to enforce it. Our zoning officer is not going to be able to enforce this.
well, the other thing we can do is appoint somebody that's on, that works for the town to be the.
A constable, so
the
that
one
I supervise a constable?
Or one of us.
I don't think that's what the
Chad.
law says. The new person, we don't know who the new person's
new
gonna
That's it
be.
all.
I have to buy, have to be liaison to the.
Whoever gets elected, guess what?
We'll buy him a bulletproof vest.
Jeez, well, the only way we can really enforce it is through, and I'm meeting with Peter tomorrow, is through additional shifts by the village police department or contracting with the county sheriff, because they will enforce our local code, the state troopers will not. I mean, and we're looking at that in terms of parking enforcement in Rhine Cliff when Amtrak starts, so this could be part of it, just additional shifts, but we cannot expect a 20-hour-a-week zoning administrator who's, you know,
No, I understand.
to leave his his or her desk and go out and enforce noise. It's just not gonna
How
happen.
many calls do we get a day on noise?
Well, Rudy calls,
Okay.
Rudy calls.
To begin with, they're all transferred to the zoning enforcement officer.
Okay,
I am not aware of a daily, even a weekly.
I didn't think so, okay.
Two people who are really upset.
We should be
There's
able
no
to.
like ticker at the deli up on the wall?
Anyway, that's what I'm working on, I just thought you'd all know.
Well, yeah, that's great, thanks.
Do we have to vote on this?
I don't know how I got involved with that.
Didn't we vote on this? Did we vote on the?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Okay, good.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Any other questions or comments or any new business or
Thank you from the pickleball community.
for what? Oh, for
Chauncey
this?
for his work. Yes.
Chauncey's gonna do the skate park next.
Oh, wow.
He said he would.
Yeah, he's got the knee guards and,
Did you
No,
see the
what he has,
article?
what he has is brutal stick-to-itiveness and he can't say no to him because it's scary, so he just gets it done.
That was the price of her vote today, that I would work on a skate park next.
Chauncey, did you see the article in the Times about the noise from pickleball?
No,
It's already
There was an
being
article?
played there.
on the front page, below the fold.
I sent it to you.
Of course I saw it.
It's
It's
less
like,
than
it's like the next
gas
thing
powered.
would be, they call it,
It's less than gas powered weed whackers.
no, it's,
We're gonna have gas
different
powered
character,
pickleball.
different character.
people thought it was gunshots.
My God,
Depends what they
say.
ate.
All right, hearing nothing, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, bye, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
You said noise.
Thanks.
It's on the front page.
Yes.